towards Druzhkivka. We have the opportunity to ask our correspondent Alexander Motorny about what is happening now in the Pokrovsk region. He and his group worked in the area, communicating with the military who are defending there. Sasha, congratulations. Tell me, who did you talk to? What did you see? Go ahead, tell us.
Hello, Ruslan. Well, the phrase, the sector of the front with the highest intensity of fighting, where there are between 50 and 100 clashes every day, the section of Kalbaze, where the enemy is simultaneously trying to attack along the front and put pressure on the flanks. And very often they use small sabotage groups of up to 3 people to sneak unnoticed into the rear of Ukrainian defensive positions. And this is the area where the Russians are now using an insane amount of drones, artillery shells, and aerial bombs. That's all. About the Myrnohrad Pokrovsk sector of the front.
What is that? Is that a drone? No, that's artillery even. Mostly it's tube artillery mortars. We rarely reach them, but we do hit them sometimes. Mainly it's the destruction of houses. All of this happens because something keeps landing nearby.
Yes, right now, probably everywhere along the line of contact, but what I can say for sure is that here, the war actually starts at least a quarter of 100 kilometers away from the front line. Any transport, military, civilian, four-wheeled, two-wheeled, almost certainly becomes a target the closer it gets. Accordingly, away. All settlements located at this distance from the LBZ now resemble apocalyptic scenery, and living there, even existing, is simply impossible. It was Arta who started it.
Yes, Art.
The front line is now...
Pokrovskaya? Well, Pokrovskaya too. They are trying to attack from the flanks to cut off our logistics so that our infantry is left without logistics and without supplies.
In recent weeks, the entire Donetsk region has been covered in very dense fog. On the one hand, it may seem that such a circumstance plays in favor of Ukraine's defense forces since it prevents the enemy from orienting themselves during an attack. Accordingly, the number of attempts by the Russians to storm Ukrainian positions could decrease. This is partly true. At least there have been fewer mechanized assaults, particularly north of Pokrovsk towards Myrnohrad. But the fog almost makes it impossible to conduct effective reconnaissance using UAVs. And the enemy is taking advantage of this, sending forward small sabotage and reconnaissance groups. In fact, this tactic now makes up, about 80% of all the occupiers' attempts to advance.
The intensity is such that they move forward little by little every day. Sometimes they manage to infiltrate a settlement, and right now there are street battles going on there.
A separate topic is the enemy's guided bombs. The Russians mostly drop them from all-weather fighter bombers, the Su-34s. Accordingly, poor visibility. It doesn't play any role at all. The enemy uses glide bombs by the dozens, attacking both the front line and rear areas, especially the positions of Ukrainian drone operators and any ground routes, roads and paths connecting the front line.
Guided bombs are the main thing. Both on the previous front and on this one, we are losing positions mainly because of the strikes from guided bombs.
Quite often on the Pokrovsk-Myrnohradsk sector, circumstances develop in such a way that our drone crews have to engage in direct contact, rifle combat. It's precisely because of that kind of fog, when the enemy sneaks in unnoticed. Of course, this greatly complicates the situation, but at least it can be countered. Ultimately, you can simply kill the Russian saboteurs. But against guided bombs, there used to be no systematic countermeasures at all. Shelters do help, of course, but against 3-ton bombs or even 6-ton ones, they are literally now clearing potential routes for their infantry to advance, particularly in Myrnohrad. Very few shelters will actually be effective. That's the situation here.